We all know we're getting Deadpool 3, but thanks to some new information, we now know that we're getting Deadpool. But hold up, will it actually bring Deadpool to the MCU 616? What's up, I'm Kendall, aka the Sensei here at Normies and Nerds. We are grinding to our first 1,000 subs here, so drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and let's get it. Because new reports from an interview with two of Deadpool's 3 writers not only calmed everybody's nerves about whether Disney would, Disney-fy the movie. Some in between the line clues were thrown in there, hinting that Deadpool 3 might not take place in the MCU 616. But let's get into this R rating first though, before I take y'all on another theory trip. Look, it's not necessarily completely new news that Deadpool will be rated R, but to be 100 with y'all, we probably need to be reminded about that like every 3 months until the movie comes out, because for real, we just never really know. I will say though, what Rhett Reese had to say is more encouraging to me to hear than the fact that the movie would just simply be rated R. She's saying things like, I think the great part is that Marvel's been incredibly supportive. So she says that Marvel has been really awesome, and it is up to them, the writers, to come through and justify Marvel's faith in them. So like I said, it is more than just your basic, it will be rated R news, because it shows that Marvel Studios and their team seem to be on the same page, and that gives Deadpool the best chance to succeed, and honestly, might make the movie even better. Because to be honest, I'm not really a huge fan of the Deadpool movies. Like, they're good, don't get me wrong, but I'm not dying to like rewatch them whenever they're on. Maybe it's because the stories are a little bit too far out there for me. And I'm not talking about the cussing or the gore, but I'm actually talking about the actual story, right? Like, there's really kind of something missing there, especially when you think about it. The movies that were coming out at the same time as the first two Deadpool movies, they were at the height of the MCU connective tissue when you were looking at the competition there. So now with the connective tissue that we have in the MCU being added to Deadpool being his normal self that we've seen in previous movies, I actually really expect to see a significant bump in how much I'll actually like this movie. But like Reese said, it's now up to them. And this is where I want to talk about what I think Feige is doing, which is casting a safety net for the MCU when it comes to this movie. So hit that subscribe button, because it's theory time. Like later on in the interview, Reese is talking about their working relationship and might have slipped up and gave us a little bit of insight on how they will be handling the characters in Deadpool. She says Marvel has been like, quote, what from our universe would you like to use when it comes to how they've helped her out so far? And look, I can't honestly help but interpret that any other way, but to say Marvel is really telling them what cameos or characters would you like to use from the MCU that you didn't have access to before. But that does not mean that the movie, at least the bulk of it, right, will take place in the MCU 616. And you might have a concept with that problem, and bruh, believe me, I completely get it. But for me, I think that this could work in the best favor for both sides of the situation. Because regardless of how much they say they're able to work together, both sides are taking a huge risk with this movie, right? Like if this movie doesn't slap or is damn near perfect and true to what Deadpool has been, the Deadpool franchise might not ever recover here. Be real, being that this is Marvel / Disney, this movie will probably have to be much better than the first two in order to gain the respect of Fox Deadpool fans. Also, Marvel has to be concerned themselves about the portion of MCU fans and how they will be feeling having Deadpool's flavor in the MCU. And I know people like me and you are like, yo, that is welcomed in the MCU 365 days out the year. But think about the people who had issues with the gore that we got in Multiverse of Madness. Think about that and what Deadpool is going to be bringing to the MCU. So having the movie set in a different universe would help solve both of those issues, because we can see what Deadpool could be like interacting with the characters in the MCU, but they could be variants and actually not impact the main 616 story. That being said, again, I think it's a great way for Marvel to be able to read the room after the movie comes out or even during testing and decide how to move forward. Because hey, if it falls on its face, or if at the end of it all, both sides are like, it did not work out for them to really work together and mesh, it could easily be the end of the franchise, and they could also leave a possibility for a Secret Wars cameo, but we could leave the Deadpool franchise at a good spot. But if it clicks, and if it actually works, we could definitely expect to see Marvel wanting to do more and more of Deadpool and have a scene at the end of the movie where he settles into the 616, making it his new home. I'm really hoping for the best here, y'all, because I'm really ready for the rated R stuff that we're going to be getting in the MCU. I mean, with the Midnight Suns coming up, Blade, and hopefully one day Punisher, Marvel needs to be able to push the envelope with these ratings to satisfy nerds who don't want the characters to be changed from their comic book accurate stories just so they can fit a PG-13 guideline. But hey, that's the latest Deadpool 3 news. Let me know what you think about the actual news and what you think about my speculation here with the movie not being set in the MCU 616. I want to hear it all. Make sure you drop a like, hit the notification bell, and subscribe to the channel because we are on the grind to 1,000 subs. I will see you all in the next video.